Hello, my name is Sean Wren, and welcome to a special The Sean Wren Podcast, where I discuss the top 10 films of 2016, as we're only 4 days away till 2017 begins. So, in the famous words of PJ and Duncan, let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready, let's get ready to rumble.
Watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic. Psych.
Overall, 2016 has been an interesting year for cinema. We've had the impact of the superhero genre as 6 superhero films were released. We've lost many great actors and icons. R.I.P. Carrie Fisher. I'm properly heartbroken by this news last night. You were an icon, both as Leia and as Carrie Fisher, and you will be sorely missed. The summer was the way audiences showed studios that we won't put up with shitty sequels or franchises at all anymore. We've also had the rise of the indie films, and there've been some fantastic small independent cinema that you really need to check out. And a lot of these independent films or smaller budget films are in my personal top 10, and yeah, you'll check them out in a minute. And then Disney has shown that they basically own us now after making $7 billion in the worldwide box office. So that was 2016. I do have a couple of notable mentions before I start my top 10 list. First of all, De Palma. It was a small documentary about the director Brian De Palma, and it was fascinating, and I highly recommend everyone to see it, especially if you're studying film or just a fan of film in general. Hopefully it'll be on Netflix or Amazon sometime soon. Also, I want to mention Arrival. I did enjoy the film, not as much as a load of other smarter people, because even though I liked it and I enjoyed the slow storytelling of it, I just found a lot of it went over my head, and I didn't know if I left the cinema either smarter or dumber. Also, I enjoyed very much Doctor Strange. Scott Derrickson directed something that I wanted him and Marvel to do, is just tell these separate stories away from this TV episodic style that they've got at the moment. And I want Doctor Strange just to keep on following that trend, and I don't want to see other Marvel characters in there, which will happen, sadly. And finally, probably the most controversial film of 2016, but a film that I enjoyed much more than Civil War, was Batman vs Superman. And that was a postman delivering post, if you're wondering what that FUD was. Anyway, back to Batman vs Superman. I enjoyed that film so much. Both versions, honestly. I just found that Zack Snyder directed something that was truly cinematic and operatic at the same time. I found the story incredibly interesting, and how you have to personally choose what side of who you are. And I know a lot of people say Martha, but the Martha scene, etc, etc. But you can also say that about the Tony Stark "you killed my mum" scene in Civil War. So both of those just way out for me. And I love this Superman. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I just found him my Superman, that he is a person with godlike abilities, but he was raised as a human, so you would have that inner conflict with yourself. And I love the fact that Batman was basically the villain. And I enjoyed a lot of the performances in the film as well. As I said, Henry Cavill's Superman. I think Ben Affleck as Batman is going to be, if everything goes right in Justice League and in his solo Batman film, he is going to be the greatest ever Batman we've ever seen on screen. And Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman just embodies that role, and I cannot wait because of Batman vs Superman. I cannot wait to see what Gal Gadot does as Wonder Woman in June. And finally, I just wanted to quickly mention about the soundtrack, because I love the soundtrack. It is a great set of music to work out to, and that includes the Wonder Woman theme that I think every person wants to enter a room and just have the Wonder Woman theme just play in the background. So yeah, they were my notable mentions, and let's start off with the top 10. I feel like this top 10 needs like countdown music, like in the old school Top of the Pops days. So dun 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 dun. In at number 10 is The Nice Guys, starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. I loved The Nice Guys. It was my favourite buddy cop film of the year, and that's an interesting thing to say because there were 3 buddy cop films that came out this year. And I love the chemistry of Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe together. There's a full review on my blog if you want to check it out. And yeah, as I said, I love the chemistry. I love the look of the film. I thought Shane Black directed it perfectly. Like, just check out my full review, and you can see why I love this film so much. Dun 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 dun. In at number 9, Popstar. Never Stop, Never Stopping. This was one of my favourite comedies of 2016. Period. I just laughed throughout when I went to see the screening earlier this year. Again, not a lot of people, like The Nice Guys, not a lot of people saw this, but I think you need to check it out because it's out now. It's out now on DVD, and I just loved Andy Samberg's performance was hilarious. I think everyone from the Lonely Island did a fantastic job in the film, telling this mockumentary about a singer called Conifer Real just taking the piss about the music industry nowadays. The soundtrack was amazing. I mean, the Lonely Island in general make fantastic music. Yeah, and again, you can check out my full review in my blog, and there'll be links I'll tell later. Dun 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 dun. In at number 8, Zootropolis, aka Zootopia. I don't know why they changed the name of the film for the UK audience. It made no difference. This is my first entry for Disney in my top 10. There are a few more. And I loved this film so much. It was a buddy cop film, which was amazing to see in a Disney format. The animals were utterly adorable. The story was great for both adults and kids to tell about how we should treat each other, and in 2016 that is quite important now, more than ever. Zootropolis also felt like one of those classic Disney films that I watched as a child in the 90s. It feels like a Disney classic for years to come, and there's no doubt this film will be nominated for a Best Animated Film at the Oscars. I think it will lose, but it deserves its place. Dun 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 dun. In at number 7, The Jungle Book. Now, The Jungle Book was something that I wasn't particularly interested in when I first heard it was announced, but seeing the trailer and then watching the film with my own eyes, it is a masterpiece. It is a piece of cinema that will move things forward. Jon Favreau has done something with this film that, as I said, will move cinema forward for years to come, and Disney are already using this technology in other films. And the fact that these animals felt real, and the environment, you have to remember, the only things that were real in this film was the little kid who was playing Mowgli, and that was it. They were filmed everything behind a blue or green screen in a warehouse. That's how amazing this film is. And I generally cannot wait for Jon Favreau to direct The Lion King, and I can see Simba in real life and see Scar in real life and think, oh my god, animals are living, breathing, talking people now. Dun 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 dun. In at number 6, Deadpool. Deadpool is the only comic book film, superhero film, I have in my top 10. It was my favourite comic book superhero film of the year. It was funny, it was beautifully directed, it was smartly directed. With the budget that they had, this shouldn't have worked, quite frankly. It was something completely different that I think has revitalised or just gave that little bit of adrenaline to the superhero genre in general. Deadpool, when you look back, will most probably be needed because we've had a handful of superhero films and they were becoming a bit samey. But with Deadpool, it's just giving that little Kickstarter again to move things along. And without Deadpool, I don't think we would have had an R-rated Logan Wolverine film coming out. And I just think Ryan Reynolds was made for this role. Yeah, and I cannot wait for Deadpool 2 to come out. It needs to be here now so that I can just enjoy it and just see the marketing campaign that they do, because that and the film was just superb. We're about to go into my top 5, but before all that, let's go back to numbers 10 to 6. Dun 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 dun. In at number 10, The Nice Guys. In number 9, Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. In at number 8, Zootropolis, aka Zootopia. In at number 7, The Jungle Book. And in number 6, Deadpool. Now let's go into my top 5. Dun 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 dun. In at number 5, Moana. Another Disney film, but this is greatly, strongly chanted. This was in my top 4 before I saw number 4, and it had a strong contention to even be in my top 3, but it was something hard for me to do because Moana was a special story, and again another modern Disney classic that kids will be watching for years to come. And the story was brilliant. The Rock was fantastic. The actress who played Moana was endearing, and I felt a real connection to. The songs were incredible, and I generally think how far I'll go will not only be nominated for Best Song, but also win it, because it's such a powerful song that I think a lot of people can connect to and just relate with. Also, again, Moana will be nominated for a Best Animated Picture, and it could win. I kind of hope it doesn't, because there's another animated film that's in my top 3 that I kind of want to win for other reasons, and I'll explain it later. But again, if you want to read my full review of Moana, you can click on the link. Dun, 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 dun. In at number 4, Rogue One. Now, I didn't want to do my top 10 list until I saw Rogue One, and I'm glad I left it until now to do my top 10 list, because Rogue One is amazing. It could be possibly my favourite Star Wars film ever made. And I was talking to someone who is just a casual fan of films and likes Star Wars films, and he did talk about the plot, and he didn't understand it at the beginning until he saw the action stuff near the end and loved it. As a regular audience member and somebody who writes and reviews films, I can understand that point of view. But as a Star Wars fan, I knew exactly what was going on and loved it to bits. The little nods to, well, a lot of big nods to A New Hope, and the stuff that they've done with the technology, the story itself, Felicity Jones's performance as well, I have to add in there, because I just found her character to grow throughout the film. I need to see this film again. I'm hoping to do that after the new year. I mean, I generally can't praise this film enough, and it literally just missed out on being in my top 3 by a millimetre, or like a seriously short margin. But I'm glad that I got the top 3 that I have now, because dun 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 dun. In at number 3, Kubo and the Two Strings. Now, no one saw this film, sadly, but a lot of people need to see this film. It is a brilliant animated stop motion film that a lot of you need to see, because it's, as I said, it's a great family film. There's some scary moments for kids, but there's also some great action moments that kids can get into and enjoy, and you'll all laugh. And I think a lot of adults and older kids will get emotionally attached to it, and will most likely will cry, because the music in this film was touching and helped bring the story further along. This is the film that I want to win the Best Animated Oscar, because I think Laika needs it more than Disney do. Honestly, it will help expand that brand name for future films. Dun 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 dun. In at number 2, Hell or High Water. Now, this is another small independent film that no one saw, but it starred Ben Foster, Chris Pine, and Jeff Bridges, who were all phenomenal in this film. Any one of these actors can get an Oscar nod, and I think Jeff Bridges will get a Best Supporting nomination coming up anyway. I think I just love the story. I love the interactions with the characters. I also think it told an important message and shows maybe why people did vote for Trump in the presidential elections. I'm hoping more people see this film when it comes out in DVD really soon, or on Netflix and Amazon. And finally, my number 1. Dun, 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 dun. In at number 1 is Sing Street. I saw this film back in March, and not of the other 10 films, or the films that I mentioned in my notable mentions, as much fun and pure enjoyment as a cinema goer and as a film fan. The music is amazing. I hope and generally think that Drive It Like You Stole It will be an Oscar-nominated Best Song. And it deserves to be because it's just incredibly catchy. And the story is really simple. It's just about a boy trying to impress a girl by bringing a band together and just fall in love with one another. It's simple. Like, it's been done many, many times. But it was just something about it that I just loved. And I was just smiling from ear to ear, from beginning to end. And it was a film that I first saw that Jack Reynor could be a brilliant actor for years to come. And it was also the role that I thought Jack Reynor could have been Han Solo because of his performance in here. So yeah, it's out now on DVD. It's on sale on Blu-ray and DVD in HMV. So by all means, please check it out and most likely buy the soundtrack afterwards. So they were my top 10 films of 2016. If you want to check out the full list again, there'll be a link to my blog with the list of the top 10 films and links to my reviews, as well as trailers for you to check out if you want to check out the film itself, and if they're in cinema or when the DVD is out as well. So yeah, be sure to come back for another special for my top 15 films of 2017. My name is Sean Wren. Thank you for listening and have a fantastic new year.